drivers, start your engine! Entering its 7th season, the Lapped Traffic Podcast has brought you over 300 shows, driver and media interviews, awesome stories and entertainment, and one of the coolest fantasy leagues around. Get ready for another exciting season. Sit back, relax, and try not to get lapped. Now, here's your host, the Professor, Brendan Crown.
Oh, what is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 314 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I'm your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a great weekend. All right, for those that listened last week, you knew my voice. I think you could tell my voice was not 100%. I think we're at like 85, 90. This is like I get laryngitis every once in a while. And on top of being sick too, probably didn't help things. But I still cannot figure out why my voice going on 2 weeks now is still not 100%. There is still a little squeak in there if you listen closely. But anyways, here we are. And yeah, look at me with back-to-back shows for the first time in forever. Glad to be here. Weekend was definitely busy though. Friday, went to the Tigers game with some buddies, which was great. Haven't been to a Tigers game in forever. Used to go all the time when the Tigers were like good. And obviously way pre-Alden, 2011, 12, 13, 14, we probably go to, 20 baseball games this a summer. And this, like I said, it was well before COVID that I would have been down to a Tigers game, but it was great to be downtown. It did rain a little bit, but we got it all in. They lost naturally, but it was a good time. It did get me more amped up though to take Alden to his first Tigers game though, because there's just something about dad taking his son to a ball game and having that experience. So I am uber amped up to be able to do that. Saturday, went to a little festival here with the neighbors. Sunday, took Alden to the zoo, had a great time. And I'm just trying to fast forward through the rest of this week because I've got next week off with the real job. Going to try to get some golf in, hang out, little staycation, which I'm very excited for, plus our annual 4th of July party. So probably no show next week, but definitely we'll be back after that. I've already got somebody lined up for the week after that. Actually got I think the next couple of weeks after the 4th of July week lined up with some people, which will be a good time. And I haven't even reached out to like Charles Crawl, Dustin Albino's due for a spot back on. So is Striegel, and yeah, so we will be here. That's for sure. Hope you enjoyed last week's show with Chris Hacker. Coming up tonight, up and coming racer from the couple of late model series down in South Carolina. Kade Brown is going to be on. We got to talk about Nashville a little bit. I got some takes from you guys. Great response from my question that I put out there during the race, which was great. So excited to read and go through those. And yeah, so without further ado, let's talk to Kade Brown for the first time on the Lap Traffic Podcast. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the show. He currently has been racing since the age of 5. He's 17 now. He's been in karts, Bandolero, Legends, you name it, he's been in it. And he is definitely someone to keep your eyes on. Welcome to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Kade Brown. Kade, what's going on, man?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on the show. So, Kade, for those who maybe haven't heard the name Kade Brown before, give the listeners a little insight on you and your racing background.
Yes, sir. So I'm 17 years old. Been racing since I was 5. I'm racing for Matt Piercy Racing in late model stocks across the Carolinas. Been racing at Hickory, Tri-County. We're heading to Florence next week, but it's my first year race with Matt Piercy Racing full time. So we've been traveling around and seeing what we can do at all these short tracks around the Carolinas.
That's awesome, man. Was the family in racing? What sparked your interest to get you started at 5 years old?
Yeah, so my dad used to race dirt bikes, and that's kind of like what we were sort of aiming for, like when I was little. And he got in some bad wrecks, and he broke his neck, and he kind of got he wasn't able to do that anymore. So he did not want me on anything with two wheels. So he got me a go kart, and it was just kind of went from there. We'd go to the track every weekend, even if we weren't racing, we just go practice and play around. But yeah, that's how that started.
So, obviously there's different types of go-karts. We've got electric carts, that you can go and rent your bachelor party at and kind of race those kind, and obviously you're gas powered and all of that. Did you do different types of carts? What'd you get started in?
Yeah, so I started in a kid cart. They're just little weed eater motors. I started in that when I was 5. I raced it for 2-3 years. We raced all around Texas. Went to a few nationals, and so I ran that for 3 years. And once I turned 7, I raced a mini rock. It was a cadet car. I think they're called mini Swifts now. I raced it for about half a season, and I got in a Bandolero car, and that's when we started coming to the Carolinas to race.
That's awesome. Where'd you do the Bandoleros at? Those things are cool. Like, if I could fit my fat ass in one, I'd love to go running around.
Oh, those things are so much fun. They're just go karts with the roll cage. But so I started racing those just around Texas. And when I was 9, we went to Bandolero Nationals in Atlanta, and that was our first race. And we had been winning in Texas, and that's when we really realized like we needed to be on the East Coast because that's where all the competition's at. Because that was a big eye opener for us. So from that point on, we started traveling. We would fly back and forth a whole lot and just race as much as we could with the Bandoleros. Then I turned 13, got a legend card, just the same thing. We'd fly up as much as we could and race. We'd stay a few weeks over the summer and run the summer shootout. But we recently moved 3 years ago to Denver, North Carolina. So that makes it a lot easier to go to the racetrack every weekend and just be more involved.
Absolutely. It's funny, most kids at 5 are doing T-ball, baseball. So how cool were you with your friends to be like, yeah, you go do that. I'm going racing.
Yeah. It was definitely different. There's just nobody understands it. Nobody really understands it unless they're in it, but it was definitely different. I loved it.
That's awesome. Late model. So obviously, I think some of the listeners obviously have been to a little bit more familiar late model racing, but even late models has some, different series, things like that. Are you running a series? Are you running multiple track late model competitions? Break down your late model.
Yes, sir. So it's a late model stock car. And so right now we're racing the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts weekly series. We're traveling around. So we've been running majority Hickory. We just won Saturday night at Tri-County. This weekend we're going to Florence. So we're just kind of hopping around Carolinas and Virginia running the weekly series stuff. And we've run a few Cars Tour races. So it's the same car, a little different roll package, like same motor, same shocks. Just a few things that do a little different, but that's a series we'll do some of. We ran the Cars Tour race at Hickory, and that's really where the car count is. Like they have consistently at least 25 cars, and it's just the top 15 can win every race. So we're trying to pick up more on that, but right now it's mostly just hopping around with the weekly series stuff.
Okay, cool. You mentioned you're with Matt Piercy Racing. How'd you guys get connected? And is he looking to expand the program with you? What's that partnership like? Yeah,
so when I started late models, I was with AK Performance. I raced with them from the time I was in a Bandolero to a late model. And last year we won the Florence Motor Speedway Track Championship with AK Performance. And this year we decided to change things up. And so we started racing with Matt Piercy Racing, and it is their operation just next level. Everywhere we go, we have just our race cars on rails, and we know we have a shot at winning. So yeah, I'm the only driver for Matt. I go to the shop 2-3 times a week, just whatever we need, depending on if we tear anything up, and just help get the car ready to go out each weekend. He has 4 cars, 3 that are built right now, 1 that we're just now getting. But yeah, he wants to keep growing and keep building off what he has.
That's awesome. With these weekly races that you're going through, competing in, what's a typical race like? You know, for the NASCAR fans that maybe you're thinking ARCA, maybe it's 100 miles, maybe there's a pit stop or 2. You know, what's a typical race for you guys?
Yeah, so majority of our races this year have been twin 40s. So we have 2 40-lap features. So we'll qualify in the first race is straight up. And so say you win the first race, you draw out of a hat either 7, 8, or 9. And so they'll invert, 8, 9, or 10. And so you'll either invert an 8 or a 9 or a 10. So the second race, if you win that one, you draw an 8, you start 8th, and they just flip the top 8 of the field. So that's how they do those twin events. And I really think that's what the fans like, even though not all the drivers like it, getting put back and kind of put in binds. But I think that's a really good show, those second twins. And then the last 2 have been 75 lap features. We had an 111 lap feature the other week. Yeah, just really all over the place, but majority has been twin 40s.
That's cool. What's next on the list? Are you looking ARCA, looking truck? What are you thinking?
Man, just really whatever I can get into. Like whatever I get an opportunity in, I'm good with running. I want to make it, and I want to race as long as I can. So whatever opportunity comes, that's what I'm going to take. I would like to do ARCA, truck, like just whatever I get my hands on.
I hear that. What have you had any sponsors with you along the way?
Yes, sir. So per your tank lines, they've been helping me the past 2 years. Damon Lusk with Race City Steel, he's been helping me out. He helps me out with the other sponsorship stuff also. Balasa, they came on board this year. They're really, really big help. Yeah, they have some really cool products with all sorts of benefits. Carolina Driveline, affordable RVs. We had a bunch of people that have just came on board and helped us. Some that are long-term, some that just come on for a few races every year.
Sure. As a grassroots up and comer, are you the one making the calls and trying to find, new deals for that kind of stuff, or you got someone helping you with that?
Yeah, it's kind of a group effort. Me, my dad, and Damon Lusk, we all kind of sit down and communicate with each other and get all that stuff figured out.
Very cool. Very cool. What's the next race, Kade?
Florence Motor Speedway this weekend, 101 laps. I'm really looking forward to that one. That's a track I'm very familiar with and have a lot of success there. So I'm excited. It's our second time going back this year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
So at Kade Brown Racing on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just all of that.
Awesome. Well, we'll have this posted tonight and tag you throughout the week on social media. It was great to have you on, and look forward to catching up with you down the road, hopefully talking about an ARCA victory and, see what else you got going on.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, great to talk to Kade there. All right, let's talk a little Nashville here for a few. Trucks, Carson Hocevar picked up the win. Only 3 more races to go. Not too much of a shakeup there. I mean, it was. I mean, I think it was a pretty good truck race. Definitely had that on the DVR and picked up on that on Saturday morning before things got crazy with the weekend. But one of the things, I mean, Ty Majeski finished in 31st, very uncharacteristic. That definitely stung some people with the Lap Traffic Fantasy League. Haley Deegan finished 28th. I know she got into it. I think was it Colby Howard, or Dean Thompson, and my thoughts on Haley Deegan, I think she's great for the sport. And, here we are a season and a half in and just haven't seen the results that I think everybody, expected and wanted to see. And I'm very curious to see what happens next year. I am a huge proponent that one more year of ARCA just would have done a world of difference, and we could have potentially be talking about some top 10s and 15s, with her sophomore year. But hey, there is the sophomore slump, right? I think it's great for her to be in the sport, and hope that she does well. Hope that there can be that competitive female that can step in and go out there and run with the boys, and give the female fans, the female go-karts, the female late model racers, something to continue to shoot and strive for there. Maddie D with another top 10 finish, solid finish from him. Tyler Ankrum with a top 10. I mean, that's a team that has been struggling left and right. I mean, that's somebody as well. We talk about that win he had a couple years ago at Kansas, made the playoffs, and we've been waiting for that next breakthrough moment for him. He's very talented. He can do it. Hattori Racing is known for winning. They put everything behind that one team, and I hope we still might see something out of Tyler Ankrum before the year's said and done. Some of the regulars, Grant Enfinger, who's been on a tear lately, he even struggled a little bit. So Carson, we expect him up there. Zane Smith, Corey Heim, 1, 2, and 4 there. Nick Sanchez, he's been doing pretty well as well, and for a rookie as well. And he is, he's in the top 10. He's on that cut line right now with 3 races to go. So that's the crazy thing. 3 more races. Stuart Friesen's out. Tanner Gray's out. Chase Purdy's out. Tyler Ankrum out. And when we look at where these last 3 truck races are, Mid-Ohio, Pocono, and Richmond, I think we'll know what we'll get out of Mid-Ohio and Richmond. Pocono maybe could be a dark horse for somebody to possibly win their way in. So we'll see what happens there. They're off this week. The trucks are not going to the Chicago Street Course, so they will be at Mid-Ohio after the 4th of July weekend, and July 8th. There we go. Okay, Xfinity Series. AJ Allmendinger picking up the win. Obviously running full-time Cup, so that doesn't help him or anybody else for that matter, other than just some stats. Definitely some shade thrown at AJ Allmendinger. I believe the phrase was cheated up parts or something to that effect. And that's strong words there. I was surprised to hear that, especially with AJ being the great guy that he is. So I was surprised to hear that there. Again, we had some regulars not favoring too well. Ty Gibbs finished 37th. Sammy Smith finished 34th. And I went on at length last week on my takes on the current standings on the Xfinity Series. So I will not bore you all with that this week. But we'll look at the Cup Series here. Ross Chastain finally picking up that win. He's, pissed a lot of people off for spots on the track. And you would think with as much as he has done that, we may be talking about his 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th win maybe here. But no, we are talking about his first win of 2023. Blaney, man, what a hard hit there. They talked about it on the broadcast. It was, going through on Twitter during the race. You don't typically hear about non-safer barrier walls at tracks. There's just not that many. If there are, the odds of someone finding it are slim to none. But Blaney called those odds and found it. And man, what a hard hit. Called for help, thankfully was able to get out on his own, and was able to be released from the care center without any issues. I'm sure he's probably got a headache this morning, but hopefully no long-term issues or anything like that that'll keep him out of the car or anything like that. I think we could have been talking about a Tyler Reddick win. He had a very fast car, very dominant car, but that spin and losing the tire, which was an issue there during the race, what penalty to assess there, and that was just pretty difficult to recover from there. So we are not talking about a Tyler Reddick win. Instead, we're talking about a not so great finish and a Ross Chastain win. Kevin Harvick, nowhere to be found. We're closing in here on, we're over halfway through the regular season as far as the regular season goes. And, last year really wanted him to be able to go out there personally, right? I'm talking as the fan and, pick up a couple wins, make some noise, make people be like, dude, come back one more year. And just nowhere to be found. And, hey, we're headed to Michigan in about a month, and that maybe that's where he gets it going again, like he did last year and won back-to-back races. So we'll see there. It was an okay race in my opinion. Nothing too crazy good, nothing too crazy bad. Just not a lot of movement. 7 out of the top 10 finished in the top 10 for both stages. So track position wasn't. Once you're up there, you were able to maintain it. And, there wasn't any real crazy pit strategy, no fuel mileage, there wasn't anything that, played huge roles or factors. So that's what we have. Now, the question that I have for you guys, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about just the Chicago street race that we're going to have, course, race, track, whatever. And my question was, I did not realize that it was a night race. I went to go turn on the race, around 3 o'clock or so yesterday afternoon, and I'm like, did I miss something here? And then I keep scrolling down and I say, oh, okay, it's a night race. And I'm like, wow, Sunday night race, no holiday on Monday. Okay, that's, I'll take it. I ain't going to complain about it. I've got some thoughts, which I'll get to in a minute. But I was curious just because it's definitely not the ordinary, unless it is, Labor Day, Memorial Day weekends that we typically get the scheduled Sunday night race. Rain may push us to one, but an actual scheduled Sunday night race. And so I wanted your guys' thoughts on what you guys think on a Sunday night race scheduled when it's not a holiday on Monday. So let's get a ton of responses. So bear with me here. I want to get in as many as I can, because I thought it was absolutely fantastic, some of the responses here. So Chris at USMC_NASCAR Fire, better than no racing. Mick at GoDucks5_Mick, doesn't matter to me. Sunday night football is a thing, so it isn't a new concept. Mick, I am with you, and that is going to somewhat tie into my thoughts here in a minute. Matt at Milestones Motor, I like it. Got the brakes done on my truck with the Phillies IMSA on in the background. Then cleaned up, made dinner. Now can watch the race. I love it. Nate at TitansFan_13. I don't love it, especially as someone who has to get up at 4 a.m. Eastern time. If it goes any type of long race, I have to choose between watching the finish or getting enough sleep. I hear that argument as well. Sammy at SSINCA13. I don't mind a night race if there was actual racing. So far, all I see is a bunch of cars spread out going in a circle. Well, that is a whole nother conversation to have, Sammy. Chris at Auburn Red Wing. I love it. With no Sunday night football, NASCAR should try to have as many late Sunday afternoon starts as possible. Mark at Searching for Driver. Well, the dog likes to go on her long walk at 8 o'clock, so I hate all night races. I love it. Chip at Chip Hirsch. Love Saturday night racing, but I work, and this old man can't stay up very late anymore for Sunday night races. I hear that. Alice at Mad Ann Flint. Don't like it. Got to be up at 4:30. Probably won't make it through the whole race. Chris at C_Keeler. I'm on the West Coast. I love it. I'm not a big fan of races starting at noon. Chris, I'm going to venture off here. We got to show our West Coast and some love in that they have to plan around some very early starts sometimes, especially when it is on the West Coast. So, Chris, I totally feel you there. Joe at Joel Nove. Don't like it. Have to wake up at 4 a.m. during the week, and I drink way too much. Monday will be rough. LOL. I love it, Joe. Joey at Betting Underdog. I personally love it. Gives me time to get everything I need to get done during the day. Relax with some cold ones. Enjoy the race once it's all finished. Love it. Matt at CH9 SE Fan. What about SRX on Thursday nights? I know it's a shorter race, but I hear that. And man, I can't wait for SRX at Berlin. Counting it down. Andrew at Racing Cants. Kind of feel like I've been waiting all day for NASCAR. I'm watching no matter what, though. The IMSA 6 hours at the Glen Hell make the day go quicker. Pappy Wilk at WV_Wilk. Hate it, but I'm over 50, and Rich races started at 1:30 on Sunday with the occasional Saturday nights under the lights. Dude, I am with you on the 1:30 starts. Could we please go back to that? Oh, I get behind some 1:30 starts. Colin at Colin_with_cars. I like night races, but usually my better half wants the TV after the kiddos hit the hay. I can take it or leave it. Scott at 1985 Wagner. Busy weekend for me, so it works great. I know the next few are later, which gives the opportunity to do some things on Sundays. Not so rushed to watch the race. Time will tell. And the last one, Shelly at Happy Shell for Life. Not really liking it for the people that have to get up and go to work at midnight. It doesn't work out. Rather have a Saturday night race anytime. All right. Thank you again, guys, for all of the great responses there. I love it. So here's my thought. To do a Sunday night race, aside from the timing piece, it has to be the right track. Brandon, what do you mean by that? Well, like some people said, we have Sunday night football. We got Monday night football. So it very well, great for us at home. Like a lot of people said, hey, I was able to get stuff done, be with the fam, do stuff, and then sit down and, decompress, relax, watch the race, and be good to go, and not necessarily have to carve out specific time on an afternoon, depending on how big of a diehard you are, all that kind of stuff. So what I mean by that, it's got to be the right track to where fans can have an easier time to be able to get in, out, and home for those that are traveling just for that Sunday race. So a place like Michigan, or a place that's in the middle of nowhere where people can't get home, to where it's a 90-minute, 2-hour, 3-hour drive without traffic, those are the tracks that would struggle, I think, to do a Sunday night race. Because, again, while it may be great for us at home, the track still needs to bring people in and needs to have that draw. So it has to be that right track to where it's closer to civilization, if you will. So Nashville, 40 minutes, really from the downtown Nashville area, so it's not that far out. Richmond's a great track that could do it. It's close enough to where people don't have to commit extra hours to their drive on top of however long it may take to get out. So that's what I mean by it needs to be the right track. For me, I don't mind it. I like it. Like a lot of people said, I can't wait for Sunday night football. It's probably one of the better parts of Sunday during the fall and the winter is Sunday night football. You get everything done. You can chill, sit, watch it, and whether it's a quarter, half, whatever. But again, I also get it for the people that, have to work. It's not a team that rotates it every once in a while, like a football schedule. It's the race. If you want to watch it, you're watching it. So I totally get all points there. But I circle back to say, if we're going to do it, it would only be feasible at certain tracks. And that's what I got there for you. All right, got to talk real quick about the Chicago Street Course. I'm excited. It's different. We keep talking about things that are different and seeing if they work, because why not? It is going to be a 2.2 mile track that's going to go through the streets of Chicago. Chicagoland. I was so sad to see Chicagoland go, because probably the last 5 years, maybe 7, depending on your take, put on some great races. Chicago, I think, can be a great area for racing. I mean, granted, it was about an hour away from downtown Chicago, where Chicagoland was. But I'm very curious to see what this does, how it draws from an attendance perspective, as well as the actual racing itself. A couple weeks ago, Indy did the road course here in downtown Detroit, and it was awesome. I didn't go, but I did watch it, and I know some people that did go, and it was a fantastic time downtown for the people that did go. It was able to highlight the city. The design was perfect. It really highlighted some awesome parts of downtown Detroit, which I think was great. So I'm very excited to see what it is. And if it's great racing, then awesome. Let's have some great racing, because I know there's been a lot of criticism so far this year in terms of the racing. And again, I think I talked about this at length a little bit last week too, in terms of the package that we have. We could have better racing at these tracks that we're very used to having decent racing or good racing at. And, that's something that you can't hold the track accountable to, because it's not the track's fault. I'll use Bristol, for example. I think that's what I was talking about last week in terms of, Bristol's probably, or they said, not going to have that dirt race next year. Does Bristol get two races still? And, Bristol hasn't packed 150,000 people in there in a very long time. None of the rate tracks really have sold out on a consistent basis. Daytona might be a sellout. Some of the infields might be sellouts. Phoenix will sell out the grandstand, but we're talking a lot less capacity than what some of these bigger tracks have. I would say that it's not Bristol's fault in terms of the racing that we've had there the last few years. One, because of the dirt in the spring, and two, the package that we've had just isn't giving us the racing that we want to see at a short track. We've got a bunch of short tracks, we've got a bunch of road courses, and we know those types of tracks can deliver, and it's just waiting on this car package to change a little bit. So I'm excited, curious to see what it is, and excited to come back here in a couple weeks and talk about it. So, okay, let's do a little Lap Traffic social media. Everybody make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. If you've made it this far into the show, please leave a review, tell your friends, all of that good stuff. Would love to hear from some new people. Heard from some new people on the for the listeners take there a little bit ago, which was awesome. I still have a giveaway going on as soon as I hit 7,100 followers. Have lost a few, so we got about 120 to go. But I've got an awesome NBC and Lap Traffic prize pack. Might have some new NBC stuff coming down the road, so be on the lookout for that. Don't forget, I've got free stickers and koozies for anybody that wants one. DM me, shoot me a message, shoot me an email, fill out the contact page on the website. Just get a hold of me. I am happy to send one out to you. So there we have that. Unfortunately, was not able to find anybody that went to Nashville to be able to have them on for a catching up with Lap Traffic Fantasies or segment fantasy. So with that said, let's do and close this thing out with some Lap Traffic Fantasy. Just a reminder, get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this Thursday. Check the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com/fantasy to see if you or who you have still available. Use the Twitter interaction. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. There we go. I got you. Reached out to a couple people, some of our week highs from last week. I think week high was 144 points by two people. Someone had 142, but didn't hear back from anybody to have them on the show, unfortunately. My picks of Larson, John Hunter Nemechek, and Zane Smith got me 125. I'll take. That's a solid day for the good old Lap Traffic podcast in their own fantasy league there. I will take that for sure. here are the standings for segment 2, top 10. Dan Sherwood in first with 466. Michael Nebbia in second, 1 point back, 465. Michael Mason third, 457. Kristen Haglund in fourth, 452. Kirk Brockman in fifth with 450. The Doctor, Aaron Studwell in sixth with 443. Yours truly in seventh with 438. Mick Rose in 8th with 436. Mark Luddington in 9th with 434. And Matthew Kendrick wraps out the top 10 with 430. Just as an FYI, 11th place is only 1 point back. Okay. Let's do the cumulative standings. Currently in first, back up to first after I think he was out for a week or two, but he's made his way back to first. It's Andrew Yu. We got Henry Fletcher in second with Andrew's got 1640. Henry Fletcher in second, 1 point back, 1639. Benton Wilson in third with 1607. John Entwistle in fourth, 1594. Jonathan Lilly in fifth, 1571. Michael Nebbia in sixth, 1548. G.R. Davidson seventh, 1544. Dan Sherwood in eighth, 1543. Scott Boys in ninth, 1541. Yours truly in 10th, 1538. Kevin Hahn in 11th, 1532. Two-way tie for 12th with Mick Rose and Steven, DFS NASCAR guy, 1523. Kristen Haglund in 13th with 1512. Matt Dabrowski 14th, 1510. Jumpy Bob in 15th with 1509. And Jeremy Waterbury with 1507. Bonus points, Andrew Ewan first with 10. G.R. Davidson, Lisa Chanana, Matthew Kendrick, Pete Kervin all have 7. About 10 people have 6. A bunch of people have 5. And on down from there. Okay, let's do some picks. We are headed to the much anticipated Chicago Street Course. Obviously no trends to go over, but we can probably expect some of our road course ringers to be up in the mix. Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., AJ Allmendinger, Denny Hamlin. But with this being a new track, new course, who knows what might happen. There are 0 notebooks on this one. So I would say anything is possible. Again, the trucks are off for a couple weeks. So I'm going to make it real simple, because I'm assuming AJ Allmendinger is running. If not, I will obviously make a different selection. But I'm going Dinger and Dinger. A lot of people have done that in the past, and it has worked out on more than one occasion. So there you have it. That's who I've got. Don't forget to get your picks in. And all right, that is going to do it for episode 314 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Huge thanks to Kade Brown for calling into the show. We've got some stuff lined up for you here after next week's 4th of July holiday. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!